All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order. An executive session was held in advance of this meeting to discuss personnel contract and legal matters. If everybody could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. First up, I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. At this time, we're going to go to John Goodling for an Eagle Scout project presentation.
Hi, thank you for seeing me tonight. I have slides on my phone that I'm going to look off of. I would like to build some cubbies in the band room for an Eagle project. The project aim is just to make some better storage for all of our different instruments. Right now, the storage situation isn't very good. We're kind of stacking instruments in closets, and we could really use a better place to put them. So we have a spot picked out where I could build big cubbies to fit each instrument specifically, so that it'd be a lot safer to put music and different things like that. The total cost is roughly going to be $1,080. I'm hoping to complete this project late July into August, with fundraising being late July and then building it probably during early August, depending on how long it takes to do all the fundraising. It'll probably take a day to cut the pieces and paint them, and then once it's dry, we'll probably have another 2 days to put it all together, so about 3 days total. I'm going to be reaching out to Lowe's and Home Depot to see if I can get some discounts on some of the items that I will need. We're also going to have a car wash to fundraise, and then the band boosters will provide additional funding if needed. Thank you.
Well, thank you, John. And I know I had the pleasure, along with Mr. Funk, to walk down to the band area to see kind of your design and concept. And then I did share, I said this would be great if you could certainly share it with the board. And, coming here on a summer evening to present to us. Thank you for all of your work on this. And to see that there was a need. And to be able to identify that need and then problem solve and continue to work. Now I know the hard work begins, right? That application when it comes to your Eagle Scout project, going in front of the council, being able to answer the questions, the fundraising, the design, working with our maintenance team, and all of those steps that are along that project, and then each one of those benchmarks along the way before it's finally completed. So congratulations on your continued path towards that Eagle Scout, all of your work on your merit badges, and all of your work into scouting. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Goodling walked away, but does anybody have any questions for him? No? Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. At this time, are there any other public comments on agenda items only? Name and township, please. Thank you.
Kelly Noss with Penn Township. My is for item number 17, number B.
Okay.
And that is the contract with the Blue Line Safety LLC. I was wondering if the administration or board could give some information, because looking over the agenda, I have no idea what this company is or what it does, and I would like some information. And then I have some follow-up questions, if permitted.
Sure. You want me to take it, or do you want to? Why don't you take it? You're. Go ahead.
Sure. The Blue Line Safety LLC is a safety and security company. Currently, right now, it would be safety and security company with our current safety officer, who was employed by a different company who branched off to form his own. This individual would have his own liability insurance, continue to be Act 235, and NASRO, which is National School Resource Officer trained, to be able to perform the duties under the school officer responsibilities. In the past, we've used different vending and contractors, third party. This would be a third party. It would necessarily still handle those scopes of life-saving as well as responsibilities to provide overall safety and you know, those roles that a safety and security officer would. For different events, they'd be looking at employing constables who have the who are law enforcement under those elements to provide for events such as sporting events or other events in the evening that we would contract with that company to provide those for us.
My main concern is that currently that company is not approved through the state, and then that we are waiting on that. Is the intent to agree to the contract not knowing that they are state approved?
No, if in accordance with the agenda, it is pending PCCD. So if we approved Blue Line Safety LLC, that would be contingent upon their approval from PCCD. And once PCCD, or which is the Pennsylvania Commission of Crime and Delinquency, approves them, and they're an approved vendor, then the official contract would go into play. If they were not approved, then that contract would not be executed.
Do we have a contingency plan if they are not approved through the state? Do we have somebody else lined up?
We would continue to explore different options, yes.
Okay. And then looking just at their contract, there's a couple things I want to kind of bring to the attention. Is there's no specification of how many officers they would be providing. I know currently we had a minimum of 2, but in this contract it does not state a number.
That is correct. It'd be contingent upon funding, it'd be contingent upon conditions, and that's something publicly that, as the Act 55 Security Director, that's contingent upon the need of the school.
Okay. Also, in there, it does not state whether or not these constables will be armed or not. I know for the state of Pennsylvania, constables have the option of not being armed in their roles. So is it going to be specified on whether or not them working here? Because I know currently anything that we had, they were armed.
Our intent is that they would have the training necessary to have a lethal firearm. Correct. They'd be armed.
Okay. Is there any way to get that like into the agreement? Just because in the event that they do acquire a constable to fill that role, and then that individual decides, well, it's not in the contract that I have to be, so I'm not going to, and then we're under the assumption that they are, and they are not.
That will be made crystal clear with the director of that entity if they are approved.
Okay. Another thing in terms of their contract, it'd be under their 2.1A and 2.2 is the 10-day turnaround for our finance department. My concern is we go on breaks longer than 10 days in the event that that invoice is like, my example is December 20th. Per the agreement, we would have to have a check out to them by December 30th. No one in the district is here. And then now we would be subject to late fees and penalties per that. Is there, you know?
No, that should not be an issue. We have that on a regular basis too as well. That's pretty standard. Just because we're off, our business office is not.
Okay.
They work continuously to make sure that all bills and payments are rendered. But also, we have to also remember that when we're not in, there will not be, the school and campus will be closed, so it's contingent upon days of membership.
In terms of their approval through the state, Have they submitted the paperwork, and do we have a time frame on when that will be?
I do not have a time frame when that will be, and to my knowledge, yes, I was told paperwork has been submitted, and it's being processed.
Okay. I know one of the requirements for the state is to have a website. I did not find, through my searching, I did not find a website for this company. So for me personally, it's like, right, there's a requirement that I do not see that they have met. So that is my concern on that we're going to have a company here to do security for the students when they return.
Our ultimate goal is to make sure that we have proper security here that's trained, ample, and ready, just as we have for many years, and to continue to have that high quality. That's our standard. We're not going to slip below that standard, and we will ensure to the best of our ability that that gets done.
Okay.
As of the requirements, I'll defer to the company that's making the application for it and be able to adhere to any of those necessary required corrective actions that they may have to have in order to be approved.
Yeah. Final question is concerning, them being state, Pennsylvania State constables. Is that the same requirements that the state requires in terms of their certification to work around kids, in terms of their clearances and things like that?
Yeah, all clearances will have to happen for an individual who's here on a daily basis and works around and in and around kids. Yes, you'll still have to have your Act 114, your Act 151, your Act 34. That will all have to be on file.
Main concern is it's not stated, like, in the agreement that they will comply with those requirements for the individuals that they send here.
That point has been made and known, and thank you for that. We can certainly add for that clarification point.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I just ask for a point of clarification, kind of stemming from what she was asking? So my understanding of this company is that we would not have a constable here on a daily basis. We would be utilizing the owner of the company, and the only time we would be employing constables would be for extra events where we'd need more staff for them, or if there should be a time when that individual would to take a day off. So it's not going to be on a regular basis that we would have a constable here at the school. Is that correct?
That is correct. Or there'd be a need for additional help and security.
Also, he is a constable since 2023. So technically, being a constable, he is one.
Correct. But my understanding is that I don't think constables have to have the same training as a school resource officer.
Well, that's what I was kind of wondering is the ones that are here, are they going to have the training that is required by the state to be in a
Right.
district?
Well, the individual that I think, what I'm saying is, my understanding is the individual that will be here on a daily basis is NASRO certified and gone through all of that, and that the only time we would have a constable here would be as a substitute, if he were off, or if we needed to extend to more people at an event, which I believe in the past our other company also utilized constables to come here for like football events, things like that. So is that what you're asking? I mean, is that what does that settle any concern, or? Because I just want to make sure I'm understanding it the same way.
Day-to-day operations at the school when our students are here, the ability for a school safety officer to walk the halls and interact with our students will be properly trained.
Yeah, my main thing was, based on my research, it wasn't clear on whether or not, as a constable, they also had the same qualifications as the state requires to be a resource officer.
Correct.
So that's what I was asking for
Yeah.
clarification.
So that's a really great point. Currently, we do not have a school resource officer, nor do we have a school police officer. We employ security officers, school security officers, or SSOs. Definitely a difference between having a school safety officer to a school police officer in an SRO, which would be a partnership between a local police department or an agency in the school district, and a school police officer would be a sworn police officer approved by the courts to serve in the capacity within the framework of the school district. In essence, the school would be forming its own police force, and we do not have that.
So just based on what so the understanding is the owner of the company would be the main one on our campus, and then we're not sure whether or not there's going to be a second one, because this past school year, I know for the most part we had 2 on a daily basis. So what we're going to do is go down to 1, and then if needed, have a second.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Gina Frisenda. I'm from New Buffalo Borough. I would like to comment on 12F and 12G, the resignation and appointment of coaches. I stand before you as a mother and of a current and former Susquenita student and athlete. I'm also a concerned community member and wife. I am disappointed in the treatment of coaches within this district and the decision-making that is disguised to be in the best interest of coaches. Currently, our football program is at least 3 months behind because our head coach lacks a coaching staff. A coaching staff should have been in place before the end of the school year. The delay in appointing coaches has put our players at risk. Our coach, Coach Krismer, is extremely knowledgeable, and his dedication to this sport and the athletes is admirable, but he should not have to take this task on alone. Like our players, he should have a team supporting him physically, not just via text messages or phone calls. I have also witnessed this district chase away talented and dedicated coaches because the district puts more value in the names that are in the trophy cases that hang from these walls than looking to the future. Coaches have left this district because they were never supported in holding athletes, your students, accountable for their actions in and out of school. Coaches have faced slanderous accusations, the weaponization of hazing, and are made to look like fools when an athlete is brought back into competition, even after breaking the district's code of conduct. Unfortunately, the coaches aren't the only ones who suffer from the lack of support. Athletes who hold good grades, show up every day, don't destroy personal property, steal from teammates, and remain in good standing within our community suffer. They suffer when a coach is chased away. They suffer when the fruits of their labors are overlooked in favor of the student athlete who can't follow the rules. Due to the district's failure to support quality coaches and the lack shown to our own hardworking student athletes, students stop participating in sports. Their parents even remove them from Susquenita because the administration has failed them or continues to fail them. This year alone, my own son, who was a player on the middle school soccer team, had patches that he earned stolen from his bag. They were stolen because the soccer team was not given lockers to store their school-issued equipment. I did reach out to Mr. Black, who then gave my son a locker to use with a lock. Unfortunately, that did not stop any theft. He also had money stolen from his wallet. Unfortunately, this happened after we noticed this after school ended. He would bring his wallet to school when the middle school soccer team would have a game. He loves to have snacks from the concession stand. That means that while my son was on the field representing this district, a teammate went in his bag and stole his money. It was recently asked of my husband, why does our football team lack the numbers? His answer touched upon parents. He failed to mention the administration, though. The administration that chooses to believe false accusations of slander, jealousy, and lack of talent, an administration too firmly entrenched in the past to see that the ghosts of our past should never dictate our future. Your lack of support disguised as protection for coaches is exhausting and jeopardizes our student athletes. That is why you don't have the numbers on the sidelines and why families would choose cyber or private school over having this administration make decisions. On May 29th of 2015, Penn Live posted an article from Coach Mark Kirk. He was a coach who had a 0-10 record, but he was approved to come back and be a coach again for the 2015 season. He did cite, though, that he refused to come back, not because of the administration, even though the administration backed him. Coach Kirk said it got to the point where people outside of the administration wanted to make chief decisions. I don't think I wanted to be involved in a situation where other people are making decisions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Next up, I need a motion to approve the minutes for the following meetings: the May 14th regular board meeting, the June 4th special meeting, and the June 4th caucus meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next up, I need a motion to appoint Madeline Wilson as our senior student rep to the board and Olivia McBreen as our junior student rep to the board for the 2024-2025 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I got some treasurer's reports there. Next up, I need a motion to approve the following payment of orders for the general fund prepaid for $661,475.23 and the general fund check summary for $105,164.56.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next up, I need a motion to authorize payment of July bills.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. All right. I'm going to open it up for discussion at this point, see if anybody has anything additional to share or add on the general fund budget before we decide on which option. I really don't want to try to vote on all three. I would like to move one, but I want to get a feeling for the room and see if anybody has anything to share, any thoughts. Sensitive subject, and I know we talked about it ad nauseum, but there is no harm in having open discussion. So unless everybody wants me to shut up and just put something on the table.
I'm willing to make a motion.
I would just like to state before he makes the motion, I would just like to restate what I had said at the meeting when we voted for the preliminary budget, that I voted against that preliminary budget because I wasn't in favor of the 6.8% tax increase, but I'm recognize the fact that we might need a tax increase. Felt that then, that the 4.48 was a sort of middle of the road, stepwise method of increasing tax revenue without having to go as high as 6.8, knowing that with things that are coming in the future, we may have to actually add more tax increase next year. Just as I mentioned back then, keeping in mind those that are on fixed incomes, where this may have a little bit more of an impact than those of us that are not. So I just wanted to restate where I would be on this particular issue.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to share, discuss, anything?
I don't know if this is apropos necessarily, but I don't know as far as the idea of maybe increasing.
Pull that down
I'm
closer to
sorry.
you, please.
Yep, the idea of maybe, and nobody wants to hear anything about increase in taxes of any kind. I understand that, and I'm well aware of that for not just myself, but for other people. The earned income tax, I don't know, the possibility of increasing maybe earned income tax as opposed to, this is just a thought, random thought. You said any discussion, so I don't know. As opposed to, I don't know, if that's just something I want to throw out. Not that, again, nobody wants to touch paying more money, but
I would have to dig deeper into the research pertaining to earned income tax and how one would leverage earned income tax. And I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared to be
That's
able
all
to
right. No,
explore that as we talk. I can research that a little bit, but I'm not, I apologize. I'm
no, that's okay. I realized it was something just, it's just because the way it affects people, earned income tax, when you're talking about property taxes and things like that, that's something that affects certain people, but not everybody. And, anybody who owns property is going to get slammed, or maybe get slammed. We're not sure what the outcome of that's going to be. But the idea of the earned income tax, that kind of, I don't know if you want to say affects everyone adversely across the board, but at least it's more of an even, I don't know, more even-handed in a way than just affecting people that own property. Again, this is just a side thing. Maybe we should have discussed it before. I was going to bring it up earlier.
Yeah, I don't want to
Okay, that's fine.
cut you off, but
Nope,
that
that's
would
fine.
have been something we needed to
That's
talk
fine.
about
That's
a
fine.
long time ago.
Okay, that's fine.
Phil, as opposed to just throwing a motion out there, will you share your thoughts? I'm interested.
Personally, I don't want to see a tax increase at all, so
I
that would
I
have
don't
been what I
think
threw
any-
out there, and it was a yes or no vote, and we move on to the next one. That's how I think we should do it. That's just my opinion. You can start at the top and work your way down if you want to. It doesn't matter to me.
I
Or we can-
appreciate.
I can throw out 2.21, and we can make a vote that's not even on here, so they can get their calculators out. I gave Dr. Fox a pencil, so in about 3 hours, we should have a number. I agree. Just start with the first one, and we'll just vote.
I agree as well. I just did want to give anybody that wanted to share anything that they're thinking beforehand.
Just gonna throw in a hat and see which one gets the most yeses and which one gets the most no's? Like,
No.
so are we throwing out to see which one gets the most yeses and which one gets the most no's?
No, if I start with the top and it passes, we're done.
Okay.
So I just want to get a temperature of the room before I waste our time. But if you feel like I'm wasting your time by giving people the opportunity to speak, which I do not agree with, I think it's a fair and good thing to do, then okay. But if nobody has anything left to share, then I will proceed. And that is the vibe I'm getting of the room right now, so I will proceed. I'll share my thoughts, though. I personally agree with you, Phil. I don't think anybody wants to see a tax increase. I think everybody should recognize that everyone sitting here lives in this district and is voting to raise their own taxes as they vote for a tax increase. So, it's not like we're not aware of that. At least that point's not lost on me, and I understand how it impacts everybody else as well. So I get it. I'm just going to go ahead and start here. I'm going to make a motion to approve the 2024-2025 general fund budget totaling $38,563,830, including option 1 from the tax rate options listed on the agenda here.
Second.
All right. So I made the motion, Phil seconded it. At this time, is there any further discussion? All right, hearing no discussion, Dee is going to go ahead and proceed with a roll call vote.
Dr. Cattell? Mrs. Singler?
No.
Mr. Lyman? Mrs. Rabin?
No.
Mrs. Walborn?
Yes.
Mr. Lehman?
No.
Miss Bailey Reed?
No.
Dr. Jones?
No.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Motion failed.
All right. Moving right along, next up, I need a motion to approve the 2024-2025 general fund budget totaling $38,563,830, including option 2 from the tax rate options listed on the agenda.
Second.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Singley was, made a motion, Mr. Lehman second. Is there any discussion? All right, oh, jeez, sorry. At this time, Dee will again take another roll call vote.
Mr. Lyman?
Yes.
Miss Bailey Reed?
Yes.
Mrs. Singley?
Yes.
Mr. Lehman?
No.
Dr. Cattell?
No.
Mrs. Rabin?
Yes.
Mrs. Walborn?
Yes.
Dr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, next up, I need a motion to adopt the 2024 homestead and farmstead exclusion resolution based on the approved budget taxing rates in 7D, which was the previous discussion.
So moved.
Second?
Any further discussion? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next up, I need a motion to approve a tax refund in the amount of $234.47 to Buck and Brittany Kelly for the parcel number 210.134.03-007.000.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, just a point of clarification. You said 234, it's 233.47, is that correct?
Oh, did I say 234?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 233 and 47 cents. Any further discussion? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next up, I need a motion to recommend the board approve the workers' compensation insurance renewal with UPMC Work Partners at a premium of $62,218 and authorize the assistant to the superintendent for finance and operations to sign the binder for coverage.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next up, I need a motion to authorize the assistant the assistant to the superintendent of finance and operations to make budget transfers as part of the year-end financial statement audit. A full report of budget transfers will be provided to the board upon completion of the audit.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I need a motion to approve the transfer of $4,988.55 from the general fund to the cafe fund to write off lunch bad debt. This is the bad debt for the 22-23 school year.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next up, I need a motion to appoint solicitors, 11A through C.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next up, I need a motion to approve Personnel Matters 12A through H.
So moved.
Second.
I need to abstain from B1. Is there any other discussion? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next up, I need a motion to approve the 10 independent golfers for the 2024-2025 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next up, need a motion to approve Adam Timchek as the independent golf coach for the 2024-2025 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next up, I need a motion to recommend the board add the following, the list of drivers there to the approved Roar bus driver list.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Need a motion to approve board officers to execute the deed and related previously approved, which was at the April 16th, 2024 regular board meeting, documents to dissolve the Cumberland Perry ACTC authority and execute all related documents.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Number 17, need a motion to approve the listed contracts A through P.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Need a motion to approve the Susquenita School District Portrait of a Graduate.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I would like to thank all those that were involved in putting that together, and a lot of time and work went into that, so thank you. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Need a motion to accept the donation in the amount of $405 from the Rockville Estates Community Engagement Committee to be applied to delinquent lunch accounts.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Need a motion to cancel the July 9th Policy Committee and Caucus meetings and the July 16th regular school board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Surprised y'all weren't fighting over that one. Let's have some discussion about it.
Can we have discussion? Can we put August's meeting on there too?
No, I don't think you can modify the agenda. We already adopted it, sorry.
Can we have a flexible?
Better luck next time.
Can we have? You can give us packets to take home. We can do in August.
I don't even have to ask if there's any opposed, because I'm sure there's not, but I will. All right. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Cumberland Perry Area Career and Technical Center update. Why don't you?
Sure. June 24th, I believe, is the next Cumberland Perry Area Career and Technical Center's Joint Operating Committee's full meeting, at which time they will be continuing to analyze bids that had came through. concerning the construction project. They'll analyze that based upon discussions that were had at their Buildings and Grounds meeting, and they'll decide whether to accept, partially accept, value engineer, or not accept any of the current bids, and at which time they could either go out, go out to bid, or partially accept under the guidance of their project management team, as well as the administrative director. So there's some continued work. At this time, it is still green light as we still continue to proceed with the planning process of expanding the Cumberland Perry Area Career and Technical Center. And it's my understanding that, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that the at least the opening date is 2026 for that school year. Until something changes, or if it moves up or back, we will certainly be in touch and get more information out. So lots of continued exciting happenings. And I know they just held their career camp as well. That was open for middle school students. So they were excited about the numbers that were held to give prospective students not just an outlook on their programs, but an outlook on careers. And several of those college ready and future ready careers that are there, and the ability for students to earn those very valuable stacking credentials that make them earn a very sustainable high income wage upon graduation.
Thank you. Much more eloquent than I would have put it. I was like, I'm like, what can I share and what can't I? Ugh. You know what? It stays with you for a Blackhawk Foundation update. And I mean, I could sit here and talk about a golf tournament, but
yeah, absolutely.
You've been doing all of that too. So
that's the big one, is the golf tournament coming up. And thank you, Mr. Ward. Thank you, Mr. Fry, to Mrs. Wexler, the entire Susquenita Blackhawk Foundation board for their work in preparing for one of our largest, if not the largest, fundraising events that really helped to support programs for teachers, which ultimately is programs for our students. And that will occur, our golf outing, on June 28th, 2024, so next Friday at Eagles Crossing Golf Course. Registration will begin at 11:30, and we ask that you pre-register, so do that early at sqnblackhawkfoundation.org. It's $340 for a team of 4, so please get out there, get a team together, hit the ball around, have some fun. There will be lunch and dinner provided, as well as the opportunity for a silent auction provided by the golf club, and lots of different events that you could partake in and win some prizes. Plus, just a good time to get out there and support the foundation. So thank you for all of your support. Thank you for all of your planning. And thank you to all of our sponsors that have helped make this event a success. And I believe right now we currently have 88 golfers. Let's go ahead and break into that 90 mark, over in the 90 mark. So let's get one more team together. So if you're out there listening, please take that challenge, put together a team, and we'd love to see you out at Eagles Crossing on June 28th.
thank you, sir.
Before we move on, has anyone given any thought to what I suggested at the last board meeting about the possibility of perhaps asking someone from the Blackhawk Foundation to sit on the board, much like a student rep sit on the board? Has that been thought about or discussed, or is any?
No, I don't believe that has, and I apologize. I think we've been just knee-deep in the golf outing at this point. Still trying to kind of navigate through that, which has been a lot of movable parts, but that's certainly open.
I guess, would the board be okay with, is the school board okay if we did something like that? Yeah, okay, so.
Yeah, I think it makes perfect sense. I think we were spoiled by Dr. Rubish, right? You know, we got
Right.
all the deets when he was here.
So I guess if nothing else, I guess we're kind of given permission to someone to reach out to the Blackhawk Foundation then and give the opportunity to come and peddle jars of dirt like Dr. Rubish used to do from the football field. For those of you who don't know, like, I think they made quite a bit of money selling jars of dirt from the old football field.
There wasn't much he didn't sell. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Absolutely, and he's still very active in the foundation as well, attending meetings virtually, participating, providing a lot of context, feedback, knowledge, and information, and still very much active, and we appreciate all of his involvement still in the foundation.
All right. Got just an informational item there, disposition of some stuff. At this time, are there any administrators wishing to provide any reports?
Sure, absolutely.
Go right ahead.
I'd like to thank all of our teachers right now who are making the summer experiences come to life. It was incredible walking through today and seeing our younger students in the morning taking part in the STEAM camp, and then in the afternoon, some of the students taking part in it as well. While it's warm, they were still out doing some creating solar bugs. They were doing some studies within the stream. They are creating all kinds of different, going through the whole engineering design process and following through with build, code, design, and create all 4 of those strands. We gear up, coming up for SOAR program, as well as our Early Birds, which is a pre-K program to get our earliest of learners little taste and experience for what kindergarten is like. Summer school and extended school year for our families. So the campus is definitely, while it's under construction, there's still a tremendous amount of activity going on. And thank you to our teachers to make these opportunities possible. Thank you also to the committee, and especially to Mrs. Matosh for a great teaching and learning conference. We hosted the Lifted conference this previous week. I believe it was June 11th, if I remember correctly. And we had well over 180 participants. We heard from our keynote, Dr. Erin Murphy, on project-based learning, and she brought that down into real terms of what it felt like, looked like, and sounded like for her as a teacher, and how we can certainly continue to support that. Great presenters from our school district represented really well, and it was great to see the Perry County contingent as well here throughout it. So lots of great sessions. Feedback is really good, and we look forward to seeing. And once again, thank you to our sponsors and our platinum sponsor, which was First National Bank, for providing this. Was a free conference because of our sponsors. We were able to host this conference for 180 like-minded teachers to come together, learn and grow together, and a great day. Thank you, Marcy, for also presenting as well. So it was awesome to see so many different presenters. Thank you to the Rockville Estates for their continued support. Any donations that we get for unpaid lunch to be able to help offset those costs is greatly appreciated. And their support, like the support of many, has really been, we appreciate it and thank them and appreciate all of their generosity. We have several open positions, so and we continue to look for talented individuals who want to join the Blackhawk team. We need substitutes. We need substitute teachers. If you have a bachelor's degree and are looking to join our team, come on in. We'll help get you oriented. We will get you to be a guest teacher, and we'll get you ready to go into the classrooms, and we'll support you. We need custodians, whether that be full-time, part-time, daylight, or evening. We want to continue to ensure the cleanliness of our buildings and need your help. So if you're looking for maybe even some part-time hours, it's really a great environment and support, certainly of a great team. Looking for maintenance, always looking for talented individuals and paraprofessionals who can come in and support. They're super valuable when it comes to be able to do small groups, helping our teachers, working within the frameworks. And we've got talented individuals who will also help you along the way. And if you have a mindset of wanting to help students, you enjoy students, then that's certainly the place and position for you. And we can be flexible in the amount of hours. So thank you. Thank you to our teams as we continue to rock and roll. It certainly doesn't feel like we've let our foot off the accelerator with the amount of projects, meetings, responsibilities that we have over the summer as we continue to ensure that our most important is to make sure that we can continue to provide with the high level of human resources and talent that we need within the district, because our students matter and they deserve the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. At this time, are there any board members wishing to provide any reports or comments? Okay. At this time, are there any members of the public wishing to provide any comments? Sir, please provide us your name and your township of residency.
Harry Wayne Busacker. I live in Wheatfield Township.
Thank you.
I'd like to know if any of the school board members are disgusted with the way the grounds look. Because I am personally disgusted with the way the grounds look. You have dead limbs in the oak trees coming up from the elementary school. You have an oak tree that's 5, 6 feet tall in front of the middle school office principal that was not planted there. You have shrubbery that has not been pruned or pruned properly for several years. You have burning bush at the end of the elementary middle school drive that is now taller than the lamppost. I think that this reflects very poorly on the district, because when somebody from outside our area drives by or comes here to look to see about maybe moving here, putting their kids in school, the grounds are the first thing that anybody sees. You go out this hallway and you look to your right out that door, there's a walkway, there is a water basin in the center of it. It has growth a couple feet high. There's a sumac tree out there growing that's the diameter of your thumb or better. I think it reflects poorly on everybody that's in this room. And I would like to see something done about it. Also, I would like to know why we borrowed $15 million without projects assigned to it ahead of time. I know my personal finances. I don't go just borrow money for the sake of borrowing money. And I was here at the Carcass meeting, and I heard, oh yeah, we're going to make on investment to pay the interest. So that's fine. But what are you thinking? It used to be we had a reserve of over $10 million. I heard as high as $12 million. Don't know what the exact figure is, but, and I understand we need to have a reserve because you had a unit go out at the elementary school in one classroom that still has not been replaced. To me, this is all very poor management. I, as a taxpayer, would really like to know what the plans are for this $15 million that we borrowed. Are we going up here in the mountain and clearing land for a future building site? Because the land you brought out here along Schoolhouse Lane, basically other than the field you filled in, you're not going to be able to build any size building on it because it's going to be considered wetlands. And you're going to get into the same thing that they got into when they built the middle school, having to go buy ground someplace else and convert it to a wetland to take up that space. Now, I'm done. Thank you for your time.
So certainly to address some of your questions and concerns, thank you for bringing the attention of the grounds. Certainly, we have the same desire to ensure that our grounds are as meticulous as possible. Certainly, there's always challenges, just like there is in my own home. When I turn for a day, it seems like a weed grows taller than myself. We will continue to ensure, I know myself as well as my team, we walk the grounds on a regular basis to ensure and point things out. We do the best that we certainly can, and I appreciate that, and I understand the need for a high level of expectation when it comes to ensuring our grounds are to the best that they certainly can be. In terms of $15 million, our first priority, number one, was to ensure that we had $1.4 million roughly, or 1.38 and some change, for the Cumberland Perry Career and Technical Center. We did not want to remove and utilize and exhaust all of our capital improvement funds for that particular obligation that we had. The second is we knew that our debt would be falling off, and as part of our responsible and fiscal plan to ensure that our debt mills kept in place, we wanted to make sure that our run rate continued at that point. At that time, now we have the potential of a maintenance plan and a facilities plan that extends far, and there's some needs And once we utilize at this point the ability to arbitrage in a small interest loan, such as what we have, we're able to take those funds that we are able to arbitrage due to the investment rate and being higher than the interest loan rate, and therefore having close to a 1 percentage point higher. We're able to take those funds, and right now I'm reaching out to independent engineering companies to be able to help us do a full review of some of our facilities to help us with a more detailed facilities plan.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question? The property that was purchased, wasn't that before that was purchased? There was an archaeological survey done, some other things done on that property, correct?
So before we purchased the property, there was a due diligence that was done. We did an independent consultant engineering firm that did a Phase 1 environmental study on the property. There are some areas that, yes, have been and are delineated waterways that will be protected. There are also, we did an archaeological report to ensure, if in fact in that area, what the probability of that is. There was also a memorandum letter from the municipal authority stating that if there would be enough flow, if that was used for an additional building, that there was sewer capacity. So we tried to make sure that before that we did our best due diligence, and that was a Phase 1 environmental study, not a Phase 2 or Phase 3, which are additional costs and obligations, but that was a full study that was conducted by an independent firm.
Thank you. Go right ahead.
Kelly Noss, Penn Township. I want to thank the board for passing a budget. I know being here for countless hours reviewing the budget. Thank you to the Finance Department for presenting a budget and showing us where the money is going. It's not an easy task. I know other school districts are struggling. I just saw on the news today, school districts failed to pass a budget. So thank you for doing that so we can move forward with getting the kids back in and learning. Also, with recently having a lot of the new board members, I was wondering if we could go over what committees that they're kind of overseeing. I know like Mr. Fry, in terms of like the update for the tech school and things like that, I know, but in terms of like how they're assigned, and I know like there's, you know, like the liaison for, you know, hack and different things. I was wondering if we could go over those just so the public can be aware in the event that they have a concern about that area, that they can bring it to that person. Also, would it be possible to put that information on the website? So like how you have your pictures and like the role of, you know, president, vice president, like just so the community can come to a particular board member if they have a concern about, hey, my child's going to tech, or they want to go to tech and I have particular questions about what's going on. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good idea. The boss is going to take some notes of that over here, and we'll act on it then. Anybody else?
So just for clarification point, we do not have subcommittees. We activate and actually are a committee of the whole. So our caucus meeting serves as a full committee meeting. We don't have subcommittees and have those committees report back. We do have liaisons to the Harrisburg Area Community College. We have a liaison to the CAIU and a liaison to, Cumberland Perry Area Career and Technical Center. And the Pennsylvania School Boards Association. Oh, thank you. And we do have, so we do have a committee. I'm sorry. We have policy committee meetings that meet before the caucus. Thank you. Sorry.
Do you want
Yes.
to give the names of the people who serve? Do we know? I mean, like who serves in all of those roles?
The policy meeting is open to everybody.
No. The hack liaison, the
Sure.
DID.
Currently, right now, the Cumberland Perry Area Career and Technical Center rep is Mr. Fry, who stepped up in the absence of Dr. John Rubish, and I believe our Pennsylvania School Boards Association representative is Dr. Jones. No?
Why don't you just publish it? Why don't you put it on your website?
Yeah, let me research
Let's
that and go
follow
back
up
to
on
the
it.
minutes, and I'll make sure, rather than try to go back through from memory, because they do change. Usually we assign those positions in December during reorganization.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll lose my memory, so we will post those. Thank you.
Anyone else in the public wishing to provide any comments? No? I can't tell. Okay. I do have one public comment online from Tabitha Wagner, Rye Township, states, list was just published of schools having toxic water with forever chemicals. What are you going to do about it? I did some research, looked for this news article. I found a few things. We're going to have to, I'll work with Dr. Fox. We'll figure out the legitimacy of this and where the water test, when the sample was submitted, if it's even accurate, and have to follow up on it.
Yeah, certainly it looks as if there's some different numbers being circulated there. We do get our water tested on a regular basis. We get the support of PA Rural Water, as well as we have a company that comes in and tests our water on a regular basis.
All right, at this time, I'm going to make a motion for adjournment to executive session with no voting to occur afterwards.
Second.
Any discussion?
Can we throw the August meeting in there?
We cannot.
Okay, then.
Sorry. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. This meeting is adjourned.